Hello everyone, today I will take you on a tour of the buildings in the campus of West China Medical Center of Sichuan University. The original name of West China Medical Center of Sichuan University was West China Union University. Now this university is considered an elite institution in the hearts of many Chinese people, and its dentists are particularly well known. However, few people know that this university was originally a product of the spread of Christianity by Europe and America to Western China, and was jointly built by churches from the United States, Britain, and Canada in 1910. At the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century, under slogans such as "Go to the vast lands on earth where the gospel has not yet reached," a Christian movement to spread the gospel to all corners of the world emerged in the Western world. In 1911 to 1912, West China Union University began to be planned and a large-scale campus was designed, covering nearly 1,000 acres, from the current First Ring Road in Chengdu all the way to the Jinjiang River. The reason for building such a large university was because Sichuan province was vast in area and densely populated, with an area equivalent to the combined area of the United Kingdom, France, and Germany, and a population of over 150 million. The original mission of West China Union University was to advance the kingdom of God through higher education in Western China under the guidance of Christianity. According to the joint charter, each missionary partner was responsible for purchasing property, building houses for faculty and students to live in, and donating a teaching building. The British architectural firm Fred Rowntree and Son won the bid to design and plan the campus of West China Union University. Rowntree has a Chinese name. Rowntree set the tone for the form of the university's buildings. The appearance and color should meet the requirements of modern architecture, but also make use of local materials as much as possible to reflect the harmony of culture and architecture. In terms of layout, a river flowing from the south side of the ancient city wall of Chengdu separates the campus from the urban area, and a south-north central axis runs through the center, with several east-west crossroads connecting the south and east gates. 5 public teaching buildings are located in the center of the school, surrounding the central chapel, with the medical school and the science school on the east and west sides of the south, and the administrative building and the library on the north sides. From the air, this is a double cruciform layout. Later, the central chapel was rebuilt as an assembly hall, which is the tallest and largest building in the school, with an octagonal cross-shaped base and a 3-tiered gable tower, highlighting the grandeur and central position of West China. The assembly hall was eventually not built. In those days, building a modern university in the remote western region of China was fraught with difficulties. The missionaries traveled from Europe or North America to Chengdu, a journey that took about 3 months, 1 to 2 of which were spent on ocean-going ships. Upon arrival in Shanghai, they transferred to a ship bound for Chongqing, where they would face the rapids, reefs, and pirates of the Yangtze River. After reaching Chongqing, Westerners still had to travel 400 miles overland to Chengdu, a journey that required walking or riding in a sedan chair through areas where bandits were common and military occupation was frequent. However, the difficulties of transportation did not prevent West China Union University from becoming a well-equipped, large-scale campus, with the new library and museum building even having a central heating system, a novelty in China at the beginning of the last century. The initial difficulty faced by the architects was that the more than 100 acres of farmland purchased for the West China Union University campus in the southern suburbs were dotted with numerous tombs, some of which were very old. These graves were mounds of earth on high ground, higher than the water level of the surrounding rice paddies during the growing season, and all of them had to be relocated elsewhere. Additionally, some of the embankments of the waterways were higher than the surrounding land, so care had to be taken not to affect the agricultural needs outside the campus. The construction process was also not smooth. For example, the fine wood needed for the floors took 8 months to arrive and was still wet, requiring additional time and expense to dry in a kiln before use. The construction of the roof of the administrative building encountered very serious problems. The trusses were not real trusses at all, with no supporting walls or buttresses to bear the thrust. These trusses could not withstand the enormous weight of the Chinese tiles, causing the roof to become distorted. Under the dedicated efforts of missionaries, donors, and architects, West China Union University emerged in the unique and beautiful landscape of inland Western China in Chengdu. Essentially, it was a university that attempted to combine Chinese architectural elements with Western architectural principles and techniques, specifically, a perfect fusion of Quaker and Chinese styles. The Quakers is a denomination within Protestant Christianity, formerly known as the Religious Society of Friends, that originated in England and later moved to the United States due to persecution. After the rise of the Quakers, it coincided with the popularity of neoclassicism architecture and the arts and crafts movement in architecture, gradually forming its own architectural style. This style emphasized the maximization of spatial efficiency while also emphasizing elegance. The United States Capitol in Washington, D.C. is a representative of this style. Rowntree was born into a Quaker's family, and almost all of his buildings throughout his life were in the Quaker style. He adapted Quaker architecture to China, using Sichuan-style pavilions and local blue-black tiles to replace red brick arches and arched windows, but retained the Quaker preference for cruciform layouts and the use of symmetrical balance found in both Chinese and Quaker architecture. The first building constructed at West China Union University was the Ackerman Building, completed in 1914 and funded by Dr. Ackerman Caris of New York, USA, in memory of her mother. It was a 30x 15-foot medical and dental teaching building. Now the building is no longer standing. The medical college was established in 1914 and the dental college in 1920, which was the first dental profession in China. In 1924, West China Union University began admitting female students and became the first co-educational university in inland China. By 1932, nearly half of the students at West China Union University were registered in the Medical and Dental College. In the 1930s, the missionary hospital affiliated with the Medical and Dental College treated over 100,000 patients per year. Graduates of West China Union University became well-trained professionals, intellectuals, and educators, forming an advanced elite class in China at that time. On either side of the central axis to the north are the Huide Hall and the Jingde Hall, which appear to be two magnificent and symmetrical Chinese palaces from a distance. They feature black tiles and black bricks, with upturned eaves and typical Chinese-style gateways. Upon entering, one is greeted by Western architectural structures, such as sloping beams, parapets, brick walls, fireplaces, arched doors, and spacious column-free halls. Huide Hall was the first public core building of Huaxi Union University, and its construction in the fields of Chengdu in 1919 marked the beginning of a new era. The original name of the bell tower was the Coles Memorial Clock Tower, which was completed in 1926 and donated by J. Ackerman Coles from New York. To the south of the tower is a lotus pond, and to the north is an artificial canal along the central axis. The original top of the tower was in the Gothic style, with a large bell hanging inside inscribed with the words "In memory of Christ." The clock tower was once the tallest building in Chengdu, and its bell could be heard ringing throughout the city every hour. In 1954, the Gothic-style top of the tower was modified to its current appearance. To the north of the bell tower, on either side, are the Chemistry Building, also known as Yide Hall, and the Pharmacy Building, which were completed in 1941 and 1942, respectively. Clifford Stubbs, also known as Su Daojian, was the vice principal and a chemistry professor who was described by the British as almost a Chinese person. He had strong beliefs in equality and pacifism. After the Anglo-Chinese War, he decided to go to China to contribute his knowledge and skills to the Chinese people. In 1913, at the age of 25, he traveled across the ocean to Chengdu, a city surrounded by walls and virtually isolated from the rest of the world. He worked diligently for 17 years, establishing the chemistry department at Huaxi University. Unfortunately, in 1930, he was stabbed to death by robbers who stole his bicycle. As he lay dying, he asked his wife to inform the Chengdu government not to let his death worsen relations between China and Britain and not to execute the suspects so as to avoid causing further suffering to their families. After his death, he was buried on the campus, and the people of Chengdu held a grand memorial service for him. The chemistry building was named after him, and a plaque with the inscription, "All that a gentleman passes through is transformed," was hung at the entrance of the simple and solemn building. His phrase is from the book Mencius, and the full sentence is, "A gentleman leaves a legacy of transformation wherever he goes, and his spirit remains. He is in harmony with the heavens and the earth, and everything in between." This means that a gentleman has a transformative effect on the world around him, leaving a lasting spiritual legacy, and he is in harmony with the natural order of the universe, making everything better and leaving behind an eternal spirit. Wade Hall, also known as the Administration Building, was built in 1919. The entrance is a Roman-style cross-arch, and the interior is a series of Gothic structures. Other notable buildings include Wand Hall and Kide Hall, among others. Many of the buildings at Huaxi University underwent structural renovations, such as the Bell Tower, Jide Hall, Wade Hall, Kide Hall, Yute Hall, and the most beautiful building, Wand Hall. In 1960, Chengdu began urban reconstruction, and Wand Hall was demolished and rebuilt in the east of the campus, with its distinctive pavilions removed and a very different style of cloister added. A flying horse and dragon were also placed on the eaves. In my opinion, Rontri successfully combined Chinese architectural elements with Western architectural principles and techniques. The generous Western donors believed that these buildings were symbols of the spread of the gospel, and they thought that by spreading the gospel, China would become a Christian nation. However, this clearly did not come to pass, as out of the 2694 graduates of Huaxi University between 1910 and 1951, less than 20% were Christian. What was widely welcomed by Chinese scholars and the general public was the modern medicine and natural sciences that the university taught. After 1926, Huaxi University was closed, and all foreigners were ordered to leave China. However, the Chinese scholars who remained continued to study, teach others, and make progress on their own. As a result, this university had a lasting impact on education in China. During World War II, John Leighton Stewart, the founder of Yenqing University at the time, helped his students and faculty members move from Beijing to Chengdu, where Huaxi University provided refuge for these intellectuals. In 1950, the West China Union University was renamed as West China University. In the same year, the agricultural and art departments of West China University were merged into the Southwest College of Agriculture, and in 1952, West China University divided its faculties into the Sichuan Normal College, the Sichuan College of Chemical Engineering, and the Sichuan Institute of Finance and Economics. In 1960, during the urban reconstruction, Wand Hall was demolished and rebuilt in the east of the campus, with its distinctive pavilions removed and a very different style of cloister added. A flying horse and dragon were also placed on the eaves. I believe that these old buildings at Huaxi University symbolize Western religious civilization. Despite the continuous subtle changes in their style, these structures will shine brightly in Chinese history. Hello, I am Mr. Lee. Welcome to subscribe to my channel and embark on a marvelous journey together in this wondrous world.